everybody. Thanks for hitting that play button. My name is Steve, and that lovely lady behind the camera, her name is Audra. We are two van lifers who are over a year on the road now full time, and we're loving every minute of it.
We really enjoy exploring and traveling to new places and doing so without spending too much money. So this spot we're at right now where we spent the night is absolutely perfect. Yesterday we were in Rockland, Maine, and made our way down to Booth Bay Harbor. We checked out the Coastal Maine Botanical Gardens, which were pretty awesome, and we got in for free because I have a RAP membership with the American Horticultural Society. After that, we actually found a little boat ramp not too far away and had some dinner. And while we were there, we were talking to some locals, and they recommended this spot. It wasn't on our radar at all. A little local park, and it was free and a great spot. So it's pretty perfect.
Yeah, it is a beautiful spot, and it's one of those typical kind of van life moments where we hadn't planned on coming to this spot, and had it not been for a casual kind of offhand conversation that Audra had with a local, we wouldn't have even known that this spot existed. Not only is it beautiful in its scenery, but it also offers a bathroom with running water and a gazebo with power. So benefit there.
As a rule, we really try not to spend money to park overnight. We can probably count on one hand the times that we have done that. The last couple times that we have paid was just recently in Montreal because we wanted to be close to the downtown. So we paid for one night there, and then before that we were in Georgia with our friends Bill and Christina, and we paid for a campsite there. We shared it with them. Oh, and one other time we were just with family outside of Erie, Pennsylvania. So just a few times that we have paid for camping. So this whole time we've been in New England, it's been all free spots that we've found, and I would say we've been surprised at how easy it's been to find free spots. When we went full time, that was my biggest concern, is that it'd be a little bit stressful or hard to find spots. It can be a little tricky in certain areas. So last night was a bonus because we didn't have to drive too far. We were planning on probably driving like a half an hour to get to a free spot. We try to be creative in the spots we find. Last night, before we talked to the local, we actually had been planning to park at a church. We had reached out to a church and just asked if we could park overnight, and they said yes. Other than that, a lot of times we use iOverlander or just go on recommendations from friends who have traveled in an area. So it is cool how many spots there still are available for free parking. We hope that continues, because that could be a challenge sometimes in certain areas.
Yeah, some areas are definitely easier than others. There's a lot of Cracker Barrels in some spots, or Walmart's a little more open to it, or different spots that people have found. So far, we're finding Maine to be a little limited on spots, a little more challenging. So that's why this spot was all that much more special, is because, again, we hadn't planned on it, and that random conversation we had alerted to this spot, which was really beautiful.
If you've been following along, you'll know that we have been splitting our time between some scenic spots and a lot of Walmarts. Seems like in New England, that's the easiest thing, is Walmart. Now I know there's some areas though where the Walmarts don't allow it, but obviously we'd prefer to be at a scenic spot, but that's not always necessary. Sometimes it's really nice to be at a Walmart just because the convenience. Since we've been up here in Maine, we've been using the Wi-Fi a lot, and obviously they have bathrooms and food so we can get groceries. The last Walmart we were at in Rockland was actually really nice. It had trees throughout the parking lot, which made quite a difference than just a regular open parking lot. So it's not always too bad to be at a Walmart. But, as we've mentioned, we check iOverlander for different spots. Sometimes we feel more confident and we'll just try something on our own that feels right. We find that boat ramps a lot of times work well. So it's been kind of a nice mix of things since we've been here in Maine. The recommended spots and the Walmart for the go-to.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you kind of have to trust your gut when you pull into an area, and if it works for you, great. I guess for those that are watching and listening to us, I would say do your part to keep this going, and so be respectful of the spot you're in. Don't be a nuisance, don't litter, etc., etc., so that these spots don't become spoiled, and before you know it, there's no overnight signs posted, etc. The other nice thing about Maine is that the people are very friendly, and I suspect that if you just came out and asked them, hey, do you know of any overnight spots, that they would be more than willing to lend their insight and, who knows, maybe even offer up their driveway. We haven't quite done that yet. We haven't built up the nerve, or at least I haven't, but you never know.
As I mentioned, when we first started doing full-time, I was nervous about finding a spot every night. So if you're watching and that's something that concerns you, I would just say, there's so many resources out there. iOverlander we're very thankful for, but there's also others. I know Compendium and Dirt and some others. So if you're kind of feeling a little hesitant about trying it out, I would say start with those. Like Steve said, talk to locals, and we've talked in the past in other videos too about other things that you can do, like what to look for or whatever. But I'm just thrilled that we've been able to spend all this time in Maine, and we've been able to find free spots. It has been a wonderful time.
Yeah, when we first even began exploring the idea of van life, that was one of the issues that kind of was in the pit of my stomach of, oh boy, where are you going to park every night? And I will say it's a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And not to say that there isn't some research that goes into it, and you spend some time on iOverlander and those other sites that Audra mentioned. But yeah, it's not quite as hard as I thought it was going to be. So, and then you are blessed enough to stumble across spots like this.
12-yard touchdown catch for Chris Olave. And now the seats.
We are making our way south now, and we just drove through the little town of Wiscasset. And that line that you saw there was actually for Red's Eats, I think is how you say it. When we were in Maine last time in 2020, we got lobster rolls there. Very good. It's funny to see how long the line is though, and that people will wait in that line.
Lobster.
We made a quick little pit stop at McDonald's. I needed to use the Wi-Fi because I don't have the greatest signal in this area. And Steve refilled on
Coffee.
his Go Juice. And used the facilities, I think. So McDonald's is way overpriced for us these days. We looked at some other options other than coffee, and we decided we don't need any McDonald's. So we're gonna go find our next cool overnight spot, and we'll make some dinner soon.
Your destination is on the left.
Interesting.
You're not allowed any computer rides.
Commuter.
No.
So we've arrived at our next overnight spot. It's not quite what I expected. It says beach, and can't see any beach from the parking lot, but I think there's maybe some trails you can go on. And there's this one guy set up here.
That's always a good sign for me. It's one of the first things I look for is to see if anybody else is at this spot. It's always comforting. Strength in numbers. So I think one of the ideal spots is right back in here, perhaps. So you're kind of hidden from either entrance. Not too bad. Power line's right above us, so I guess there's a benefit to that. We just put our food out on the counter and it should cook naturally in about 10 hours.
Cook our brains also. Wow, you can actually hear the power lines crackling. Let's go see what we can find here with the map. Alright, let's see what we've got here. So, we're in the town of Yarmouth. And we crossed over this little bridge here, and we're right in here. Maybe there'll be a little bit more of a beach when the tide goes down. We'll see. Alright, time to check this place out. Pretty here.
but I did. Not too shabby for an overnight spot.
Not bad.
Who finally chases him down. Tom Rinaldi's with the Ravens. KB, you heard John Harbaugh tell us during the week.
You know what time it is? It's time for dinner and for some football. I'm not watching the football, but this guy is.
This 3 weeks in a row, covering this game for the last 3 weeks, we've seen a lot. And again, you need to establish some.
Making a little stir fry tonight. But I left over pork chops.
This is one of the places that he wanted to come. Yeah. So if you're a Cowboy fan, you're thinking, wait, he looks pretty good over there.
It's always a good day when the Eagles win and the Cowboys are losing big time.
Look at this goodness. Here it is. Smells pretty good. There's a lot of ginger in there. And garlic. And other good stuff. Look at that little worker bee. Isn't he cute?
I haven't chopped my finger off yet. That's good.
Bonus points. Well, we don't do cooking very fast in the van, but probably about, I'm going to guess, have we been working on this for an hour?
Probably. Yeah.
I think dinner's ready. Steve's got the game on, he's editing, I'm finishing up dinner. It's time to eat. And in addition to the fresh ginger in the tube, added a little bit more powdered ginger. Alright. Time to serve it up. And top it off with some chopped up peanuts.
Well, have to say, so far it's been a pretty good day. Got the Eagles to win. Got some stir fry. Cowboys are currently losing. Can't beat that.
And 2 great parking spots in a row that aren't at a Walmart or at a Cracker Barrel. Doing pretty well. As long as we don't get the knock tonight, but I don't think we will. Good morning, you guys. Came out to check things out this morning. I discovered why it's called Sandy Point Beach. Got the little point right here. This is not too shabby a view. And I thought I was going to miss the sun coming up, but because of the trees up here, it's just coming up now here. So, I don't know if you can see this, but there are little holes all along the beach here, and water just keeps shooting up out of them. That's something new for me. I don't know if it's because the water's coming in. I'm wondering if there's clams under here or something. It's happening like everywhere. I've never seen this. And here comes the sun. It looks like there's been a little raccoon or other critter on the beach before me this morning. Look at the texture on this little guy. I don't know why this cracks me up so much, seeing all these little squirts of water popping up, but I find that so fascinating. That's all I can think of is it's got to be like mussels or clams or something. Before the tide comes in, I'm going to walk out on the sandy point. I'm going to see if I can check out the view from the other side of the bridge now. Well, looks like there's some kind of power plant back here, some islands, and a marina. Not a bad view for the morning. Alright, I think it's time to go back to the van. What are you doing? What are you doing? You little bugger. Huh? What are you doing, you little stinker? What are you doing? Time for breakfast. And this is a perfect example of how our freezer doesn't work. The raspberries are not frozen at all, really. Oop. One of my favorites, plain yogurt, plain Greek yogurt, berries or fruit, and a little bit of granola. Voila. Pretty, right?
And for me, it's just boring old Raisin Bran with banana.
It's been really nice today and yesterday, just slowed down a little bit and having these nice overnight spots. Kind of a nice change of pace. We have this level that we use in the van, and last night it was pretty obvious that our heads would have been down if we had stayed how we were parked. So we ended up turning the van around overnight. So looks a little different this morning since we're turned around. But that was much better with our heads up. Before leaving our overnight spot, taking a little walk. There's a trail right next to where we were parked. We don't really know where it goes, but we're just gonna get a little bit of exercise before we head to another library. Now that we're walking and I can see the water, I just realized I was wrong this morning. I thought the tide was coming in, but it clearly was going out because now we can see a lot more. All these pretty red berries. Steve probably wants to try one.
Audra, you are so silly. These aren't berries, these are red Tic Tacs. Where do you think they come from?
Oh, so they're the cinnamon flavor?
Tastes hot. My mouth feels funny. I can't feel my tongue anymore. Other? Maybe this aren't hip clap. Maybe they are twice a better. Other? My tongue. Can you hear me? Why do you look so funny right now?
It's saliva going down his shirt. Is your tongue feeling any better now?
Yep.
And to add to that, as I was standing there filming, we had a cut because all of a sudden there was something at my leg. It was a dog that snuck up on me. I had no idea it was there. It really did make me jump. Huh. This might be the first trail that I've been on where I've had to cross the road to keep on the trail.
Such a peaceful stroll right by the highway.
I'm going to go out on a limb here now, and I'm going to say, I think Steve gives our overnight spot 5 vans, because look, they have benches here. And they're pretty cool benches.
What a view.
Something Steve and I have been talking about the last few days are the differences between the two of us. And I was thinking, and I said to him, I think he's a big picture guy, happy to sit on the bench and get the broad view. And I'm the detail girl. I want to get up and get around and get as close as possible to see everything. And since it's football season, perfect time for Steve's analogy of the difference between the two of us.
It dawned on me the other day that Audra is the play-by-play announcer and I am the color analyst. And those that know sports know that analogy probably works pretty well for us. Audra likes to call the play-by-play of the day, and I will sprinkle in a little bit of color.
So there you have it. So in the meantime, we're going to sit here and enjoy the view for a little bit. Who am I kidding? I'm not going to sit very long. I already see things to check out. Like, look at this cool tree. And it makes me wonder, is there someone that lives in there? And who was I kidding? He's not enjoying the view, he's looking at his phone. Look how pretty this is. We've got the fall colors. Then we have the beautiful beach view.
It's such a beautiful time here in Maine. Leaves starting to change. The bark of the tree turning blue.
Before we go, we need to look at the beach one more time now that the tide is out. That's pretty funny that earlier this morning I said I was going to go out on this point before the tide came in. Well, now I can really see why it's called Sandy Point Beach. Because there it is. It definitely is amazing in Maine how much things change as the tides change. That's cool. It really is so cool seeing what treasures are unearthed when the tide goes down. All the little things hidden under the water. We've got this seagull. The seagull has found something tasty. What'd you find, mister? Alright, so here we are. The new tip of the point. Much further out than it was this morning. And way back there is Steve coming this way. Alright, I gotta say that I have officially gone to the end. Here it is. Where the sand meets the water. I made it out to the end. Much further out than it was this morning. We've got the van buttoned up. We closed the windows, turned off the max air fan, made sure all the cupboard doors were closed. Now it's time to hit the road.
We dotted our T's and crossed our I's.
We're good like that. Time to keep moving now. After a typical few hours of work at the library, it was time to hop back in the van and head to the next place on our map marked for exploration. Next stop, Portland. Well, this is where we're going to leave you for this episode. Thank you to all our patrons. If you enjoy our videos, please consider becoming a patron yourself by using the link on the screen that we've also included in the video description, along with other information about this episode. Thanks in advance, and we'll catch you on the next one. You can connect with us and see my photos of all the locations we visit on our Facebook and Instagram.